I'm gonna be 40 this year, which is really crazy. And I'm thinking about a lot of things as I prepare to turn 40. And I've been having a lot of these moments where I'm thinking about things that I would have told myself at 30, things that I would have told myself at 20. And I thought, why not share it with y'all?
You gave me something new that I never dreamed of.
I have a meeting a little later, so I figured I'd zhuzh it up. Since my hair is already done, I zhuzh it up for my my meeting. I'm also working on not only putting myself together when I have somewhere to go or there's like an event happening or whatever. The event is life, you know? The event is life, and life is happening, and that's why I should just, you know, not waste the makeup that I have, or just not feel like it's not worth it to put my best foot forward. Not saying you have to wear makeup to put your best foot forward, but some days I really want to be cute, and I just feel like I'm not really doing anything. I'm not really going anywhere. Anybody gonna see me, so I don't do it. But today I'm doing, believe it or not, I will be 40 in a few months. It sounds really, saying that I'm gonna be 40 is just like, it's too serious. It sounds like I'm supposed to have a lot of my things together. It just sounds very serious. And I don't like that, but it is where we are. And so, yeah, I'm gonna be 40 this year, which is really crazy. And I'm thinking about a lot of things as I prepare to turn 40. And I've been having a lot of these moments where I'm thinking about things that I would have told myself at 30, things that I would have told myself at 20. And I thought, why not share it with y'all while I'm looking crazy on the internet yet again? Yeah, so just things that I wish that I understood as a younger woman, things that I wish I didn't waste my time on as a younger woman, things that I am relearning or unlearning at this stage in life. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm hard-headed, and I know that about myself, but there are a lot of things that I feel like, dang, Shayla, if you had just mastered this years ago, who knows what state you would be in, right? So we're gonna talk about that. The first thing that I would tell my younger self is, don't be so worried about stepping on other people's toes. There are a lot of things in life, in like personal relationships and in my career path, that I shied away from or just didn't speak up about because I didn't want to step on anybody else's toes, or I felt like I was good at something and I didn't want anybody else to know because I felt like that was somebody else's territory, like a friend of mine or something like that. And I truly believe that there is room for everybody. But it took me a long time, and I say that because I think I really started struggling with this in high school. But it did take me a lot longer than I would like to admit to believe that there is space for everybody to do all the things. I have a family friend who was like a cousin by marriage. She and I are really close in age, literally 2 days apart. She was getting into acting, and I also wanted to get into acting at the time, and I thought it was something that we'd be able to do together. But it got to a point where I felt like that was her lane, and so I never said anything about wanting to act for years. So much so that I would go with her on some of her auditions, and I secretly would be like, you know, learning the lines, or we'd be running lines together. And I was like, dang, I really wish that I could audition too. But I never said anything about it. I never pursued it. To this day, there have been some things that I have done in the acting field, but nothing as big as what I had originally thought that I wanted to do. And so I left it alone. I was dancing a lot at that time. And so I was kind of just trying to move my focus to my career as a dancer. And then I kind of started to do it there also, where I was like, oh, my homegirl is really interested in this part. I don't really want to audition for that part either. So I probably could do the piece, but I'm not going to because I don't want it to be a thing. And I just did that a lot. So don't worry about stepping on other people's toes, because there really is space for everybody to do all the things. And I don't know, I really talked myself out of a lot of opportunities because I was so worried about the fact that somebody that I felt like was my friend, or like we were close, I just felt like I was more concerned about our friendship or our relationship. And in my case, some of those people I don't even talk to anymore. Another thing that I would say is trust your gut. I think I've talked myself out of thinking or feeling like something is wrong, or I don't need to go somewhere, or I don't need to be talking to somebody, because I thought that, oh, this is just me being emotional, or I'm tripping, or whatever. More often than not, if it's a man and you feel like he's lying, he is. More often than not, if you think somebody is sneak dissing, they are. Just more often than not, if your intuition is telling you something is off, it's because it is. And whether you think it's just your intuition or you believe that it's the Holy Spirit guiding you, I would say both are true. But there's been a lot of times where I just was like, no, that's not the case. I don't know what I'm talking about. Why would I think that? And I played myself because I didn't listen to inner me, and inner me was right. So definitely trust your gut. I could give you a lot of stories about men that I thought were lying to me, but I didn't push the issue, and I got played like my favorite song. Or places that I was just like, oh, maybe I shouldn't go. People that I felt like, oh, I mean, I don't really feel like they're saying that we're cool, but I don't really feel like that's the case. Most of the times I was not wrong. 98% of the times I wasn't wrong. I didn't believe my gut feeling. And so, yeah, stop that. Trust yourself. Third thing that I'll say, and it kind of goes in line with the first thing about not like stepping on people's toes, but don't be so focused on like trying to be digestible for other people. If you are somebody who has a big personality, you have that big personality for a reason. And I don't know how it is for white women, because I'm not a white woman, but I have had a lot of instances where I was in a corporate setting or with friends or certain family members where the conversation has been that what I'm doing is too much, or it's too bold, or it's too loud, or it's too attention grabbing. And as a Black woman, I've had a lot of instances where somebody is telling me to like be less, do less, be smaller, take up less space. And I know that there's a lot of conversations now about take up space and don't apologize for it and you deserve to be here and all of that. And I'm glad that those conversations are a thing, but I have been in a lot of situations where I was being told the exact opposite by people that I trusted, or people that I looked up to, or people that I loved. And so I was going for it, and it felt so unnatural. It felt so unnatural to me. It felt so like it just wasn't authentic. So I was like, why am I doing this? Why do I feel like why you want me to be something or somebody that I'm not? And it's because I was trying to be what other people wanted me to be, or just make everybody else more comfortable than me. And again, I just got to a point in life where I was like, yeah, I don't really care about being digestible or being like too much. Like, if it's too much for you, it's not for you. And that's okay. If I'm too much, go find less. If it's too loud, you can turn the volume down wherever you go. But around here, this is the decibel that we operate at. Like, I just had to get to that point. And it took me a long time. I wish that I had gotten there sooner. And to be honest, that's something that I really admire about my daughter, because I've noticed over the years that she just is who she is. And some people are uncomfortable with that. And if they don't rock with that, like, she's comfortable with them not being around her. But she doesn't do that shrinking thing in the way that I have done for a lot of years. So I feel like that's a mom win. And I don't know if that's because she's watched me do it, or she's watched me try not to, or if she's heard me talk about how uncomfortable it was at different points in my life when I was trying to be whatever to whoever, or make other people comfortable. But she doesn't do that, and I love that for her. I think that's I want to say it's like breaking a generational curse, and I'm saying that because I don't necessarily know that my mom struggled with that, but there are other women in my family that I know have struggled with feeling like they needed to present themselves differently in order to be accepted. And I know for us, a lot of that comes from growing up where we grew up in a predominantly white area, where you're not around a lot of people who look like you. You're not around a lot of people who are culturally the same. You're around people who do things very differently, the way that they're used to doing things and all of that. And that's cool, but it makes it hard for you to be very comfortable being who you are. And so I'm glad to see that she doesn't have that same struggle. Or if she does, she's doing a lot better at hiding it than I ever was. The fourth thing that I will say is, please, 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 do not neglect your relationship with God. And I know that everybody doesn't believe in God. And I'm not trying to force God down your throat. I'm just trying to tell you that this is what has worked for me. This is what has saved my life. This is what has made me who I am and has allowed me to deal with and get through the things that I have gone through without losing my mind, pulling out my hair, or ending up in the pokey. Because some of the things that I have experienced, I probably would have been justified in sending somebody home early, but I digress. Yeah, don't neglect your relationship with God. People come and they go. God is with you forever. Whether you want to acknowledge the fact that he's there or not, just don't. Because I really honestly feel like pouring into my relationship with God has absolutely made sure that I am very certain of who I am, and I'm very certain of who I'm not. And that's so important as a woman. And I think just as an individual, if you have identity issues, it pours into so many other facets of life, right? So yeah, you got to know who you are. And I think for me, knowing whose I am and what the standard is, what the caliber of character that I am trying to make sure that I emulate, because I want to be a reflection of God's character. It takes work and it takes sacrifice, but if you don't know who you're trying to, like what rules you're trying to adhere to, and I don't necessarily want to say rules, because sometimes people don't like the idea of having a relationship with God or having some kind of like religious standpoint, because they feel like it's too many rules and it's too regimented. And it's not really about the regiment. It's not really about the religiosity of it. It's more so about when your parents are telling you, my parents used to always tell me, my grandfather especially would say like, what's your last name? But my grandfather's last name was Boyd. And so he would always say like, you're a Boyd. We do ... We don't do this over here. Or what's the first letter of your last name start with? You can't get any grades that are less than that. Like we don't do those things. And having a standard to adhere to gives you, for me, it was helpful in my purpose, and knowing that there's a legacy that I am called to uphold. And for me, my legacy is not only tied to the legacy of my family, but it is tied to the legacy of people who are believers in Christ and who are really actually seeking to be a reflection of his character and his heart for other people. Because I'm telling you right now, the Christians that irritate me are the ones who know God is love but don't operate in love. Gets me to my core, irritates. I'm not saying you got to pray all day, every day, but I'm saying you should pray every day. I'm not saying you got to be in church every Sunday, but you should absolutely be in church. You should join a church. You should have a community of people who can hold you accountable. And even if God's people are not showing you, the love that you know Christ is asking for us to show, then that's the place where it's your turn to stand in the gap and you be that thing that you're missing. Because a lot of times what I think we don't realize is that our purpose is tied to the thing that I don't see in the world that I feel like the world needs is something that I possess. And my job, my purpose is to insert that into the world so that I can make it a better place and I can impact positive change. And as huge as the world is and as insignificant as we can feel sometimes, that's not an insignificant calling. That right there, that's the salt that you got to be. That's the little flavor you put into the world. And the people who are around you and the people who are around them and the people who are around them, like, it's a ripple effect. And that is how we all impact the world. I hope that's not lost on y'all. I didn't really plan to say that, so that's how I know it didn't come from me. Be nice to your body. You only get one. You only get one body. Be nice to it. If somebody doesn't like it, that's their problem, not yours. As women, there's so many things that they tell us that we're supposed to have and do and be and look like. Like, there's always something that they're telling us as women we got to do, we got to have, we got to look like, we got to be, we got to give. And we spend so much time being focused on that we lose ourselves in the midst of all of that. And it's like, can I just feel good in my body? Like, I only have this outer thing. I only get one, right? Like, you can nip, tuck, pick, pull, zap, do whatever you feel like you got to do to it. And that's, that's on you. But realistically, you only get one body. Treat it well. Go to the doctor. Exercise. Eat well. Listen to your body. If you feel like you're sick, get some rest. If you feel like something's wrong and you can't fix it, prioritize going to the doctor. Brush your teeth, because once they're out of there, they're gone. You can get an implant, but it's not the same. There's so much focus that we put on the outside of what we look like that we neglect who we are on the inside so badly that it's like, girl, some of the women that I have met, whether it's in my line of work as a makeup artist, I just run into a lot of women who so beautiful, so ugly, and it's disheartening. Because it's like, I'm not even gonna just say just women. I run into a lot of men who is like, you so fine, and that's it. That's it. There's nothing else to you. The last thing that I'm gonna say in this, things that I wish I would have told my younger self, or things that I wish I would have grasped earlier. I hope that don't make it into my hair. Just because you love somebody does not mean that you love them well. And that's like such a harsh reality when you realize that sometimes you love somebody, whether it's a friend or a family member or someone you're in a romantic relationship with. You can have so much love for a person and still not be able to give them what they need or what they want. And while they're telling you like, this ain't it, and you're like, I'm giving you the best that I got, baby. They're like, that's cool, but it's not what I'm asking for. It's not what I need. You gotta let them have what they need. You gotta let them have what they need. If you can't give it to them, you can't give it to them. And if some, like, also don't be afraid to tell somebody, like, I know you love me, but the way that you love me is not the best for me. I'm not saying you don't love me, because you're going to argue me down. I love you. I really do love you. I'm not saying you don't. You do. It's just not what I need. It's just not the best for me. And, like, that's okay. This is where we are, you know? Yeah, and it's unfortunate sometimes, because it's like, dang, I really wanted you to be my cinnamon apple. And now you're telling me that you don't like cinnamon or apples. That's crazy. So I guess you can just go ahead and, you know, have your pineapple and mango over there, and I'm gonna find somebody else who likes cinnamon apples, because somebody else gonna like a cinnamon apple. I'm just saying. There are 7 billion people on this planet. That one dirty mother, I'm sorry, that one that won't text you back is not the only one. That one who says, you know, I just need some time to figure things out, you know, so I can just come all the way correct. No, you're trying to figure out what's going on with that other one over there. And I'm telling you right now, in the words of Babyface, go do that. Go do that. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to put a lip on because I'm still drinking my coffee. And I'm not going anywhere. Anyway, y'all, I got my hair done. And when I say it's done, it is did, baby. I know I'm being really extra, but it's because I look like this. It's because I'm just, okay, that's all. Also, look at my socks. Tell me these are not cute. Ah! Tell me these are not cute. I bought little socky charms. Ah! They're so cute. Okay, that's it. That's it. Put the little pink sparkly heart in the comments and let me know that you agree with what I said, or if I told you something that you like never really thought about and you were like, dang, you right, girl. Get the lessons now before you get them the way that I did, which is like bumping my head against the wall so many times and making a lot of mistakes. I know this video was kind of long, but it was worth it. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.